the amazing thing. If you compare China and America, for instance, both countries benefited tremendously from globalization. If you look at GDP growth, look at surpluses, they've all gained large amount of wealth. But China's GDP grew 10x maybe around, okay? And China's median income grew about 8 times. In America, America's GDP grew also tremendously, 4 or 5 times from a much larger base. Yet their median income has been dropping, stagnant and dropping. Isn't that amazing? Where has the money gone? And if you go to Paris, go to the streets on Paris every weekend, you see them wearing these yellow vests, and they'll tell you where their money has gone. Okay, and if you go even in Germany, Germany is the most successful country in Europe. There's so much dissatisfaction. So we see a tremendous backlash against the elites who led this wave of globalization or globalism. And that's, I think, will only intensify and spread. So what does that have to do with us? China has been the only exception. Among just about among all major countries in the world, China was the only one who engaged globalization and benefited from globalization the most, yet it rejected globalism decisively. It said no to the political system of liberal democracy. It said no to market capitalism. It was pointedly not market capitalism. It's socialism with Chinese characteristics, which is fundamentally different. So,
but some form of market
economy exists, but not capitalism.
How do you distinguish that?
Oh, I distinguish them simply by saying that in capitalist society, a country of capitalism, capital is an independent power. Capital can determine the future of a country. In China, in a socialist country, we have tremendous capital, great entrepreneurs, lots of wealth, but capital is beneath political authority. Our national political authority will never allow capital to determine the future of our country.
So
in America, 100 wealthiest people in America will have an outsized influence on the future of an American political establishment and the direction of the country. Okay, in China, the wealthiest country, the 100 or 500 wealthiest Chinese people will have zero influence over our Politburo and our Central Committee. Zero. So that's the difference between a capitalist country and a socialist country. So, and the role of capital, of course, is borderless. Capital is not committed to the land. Capital is not committed to culture. Capital goes wherever it can make the most money. So it's different. And that's why you see all this backlash in developed countries and developing countries alike. Because people want their lives taken care of. They don't want to just be ruled by capital. So China is the only country that's been successful in this globalization process. It's developed a tremendous economy, became the second largest economy by nominal terms and largest by PPP. It's now the largest trading nation in the world by far, and the largest trading nation in history, by the way. I think 115 or 120 countries count China as their largest trading partner. Only 63 count the US as their largest trading partner. So we've done this, and we've lifted 800 million people out of poverty in the process, and we're continuing on that process. We're not there yet. Now, something else is happening in the world. The United States and its Western allies, but the US is leading this, confronted with these problems of globalization, seems to have decided to lead an effort to deconstruct and destroy the institutions of globalism that it built. And that's unprecedented. It's never happened sort of in the history of conflicts. If you read Graham Allison's latest book about Destined for War and all those conflicts among great powers, I was talking to him. I said, have you seen an instance like that, like this? He said, no. What is it? The leading power, the incumbent leading power, is dismantling the system it built by itself for its benefit. It wants to ditch it. And of course, you have all those other countries, especially in Europe, build their systems based on the belief US-led system will continue forever, for another 2,000 years. You're in trouble. What are you going to do? Okay, so that's another interesting and amazing thing, an unprecedented thing that's happening in the world. So what are we proposing? We look at 16 plus 1 or 7.
Brakatay Hawa, Brakatay Hawa Shai, Brakatay Hawa, Brakatay Hawa Shai, Brakatay Hawa, Brakatay Hawa Shai. Brother Yakarad, Banya Hawada, the Lions Den Camp, Jacksonville, Florida. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Harakakadash. Double honors to the elder apostles of GMS, and double honors to my elder apostle Harwan, the Lions Den Camp. Shalom, shalom. Shalom Akim, out there pushing this word in all truth and sincerity, week in and week out, presenting their bodies as a living sacrifice for Yahweh, Yahushai. And we got Eric Lee. I'll call him Eric Lie, because he's already spit out a couple of lies. But Eric Lee, and this is a video where he's talking about the world has no idea what's coming, or the world, yeah, I believe that's what it's, let me just see here. Let's take a look at what this is called. The West has no idea what's coming. All right, the West has no idea what's coming, according to Eric Lee, Eric Lie, okay? But he said he said some things that are poignant. He did say that the West, it was roughly paraphrasing the scripture. Says, their belief is that their lineage shall continue forever, and that's roughly paraphrasing the scripture, that says that very same thing, man. These people believe that they are a world without end, man. Okay, they believe that they are a world without end. All right, the heathen. All right, notably Esau, the so-called WHITE man, believe that they are the world without end, and that their kingdom, their empire, their nation, their peoples shall continue forever. Whereas we know that's just not true. All right, but Eric Lie, okay, Moab is not going to continue forever either. All right, we know that the Chinaman is from the lineage of Moab. All right, and Moab's not going to continue forever. So Eric Lie, you can say all you want, but let's let the scriptures speak. All right, I'm gonna get Revelation chapter 18 and verse 3. Okay, because for all you've done, Moab, in surpassing Babylon, all right, Babylon the Great, that this corporation known as these United States is called in the scriptures Babylon the Great. Even though you've surpassed Babylon the Great in this time, you've still become drunk, okay, with the same cup of Babylon, right? You are drunk from the cup of Babylon. That's why you have to reference the so-called United States every time you get on about China, because you have drank from the same cup as Babylon the Great. So let me get Revelation chapter 18 and verse 3. It says, for all nations, all right, that includes you, Moab, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. All right, your king, Moabite, has committed fornication with the corporation known as the U.S. U.S. is king. Okay, it says, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich. So like you're waxed rich, okay, with the witch, says, are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. Okay, so that's why you have to reference Babylon the Great and America every time you want to get on talking about China. All right, that's your America. America is your rule. Okay, America is your rule to juxtapose everything that you're doing over there in Moab. Okay, because why? Because you're drunk with the same wine. You're drunk with the same wine. All right, that's like what all you're doing is you're the pot calling the kettle black. Y'all doing the same shit, man. All right, call it whatever system you want, socialism, Capitalism, you want to say it's a capitalist society, but it's not capitalism. Well, if it's a capitalist society, then what the hell is it, man? You can call it what you want. Nationalism, socialism, whatever you want, man. All right. You're drunk from you are drunk with the same wine, and you committed fornication with Babylon the Great. All you're doing is trying to hide your shame. You committed fornication with Babylon the Great, and now you want to hide your shame and say, "Oh well, I'm not like her. I ain't like her. Oh no, I ain't get down with her. I ain't get down with her. I might have talked to her a little bit. Well, we might have had a drink. Oh well, we might have kissed. Oh well, we might have. Come on, man. You went all the way. Okay, you went all the way, and now you're nothing but the same, man. You're cut from the same cloth. Okay." It says, "For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies." Man, you're not going to be able to run game on Yahweh while Yahweh Shai, Moab. You can call it what you want. Okay, you can say you're this, you're that, you're doing things differently. You know, you did it, but you did it better. Well, tell that to Yahweh Shai, man. Okay, in the day of your great judgment, and see if it gets you a pass. All right. See if all your industry shenanigans and what you call successes are going to get you a pass, man. All right. Let me keep it going. All right, Eric, lie, spitting straight lies, man. All right. See this, whoever's talking to him and whoever his listeners are, they might believe this garbage, man. But you can't run game on the hopeful elect, man. All right, you ain't running no game on the hopeful elect, man. We see through your lies, Moab. This is Jeremiah 51:7. It says, "Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand." It says, "Babylon hath been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand that made all the earth drunken." Okay, that includes you, Moab, Eric, lie. That includes you. Okay, you're drunk too, and your whole nation is drunk. You're not fooling anybody. All right, you're cut from the same cloth. It says, "The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad." Okay, the whole earth is mad with that wine, man. Okay, that capitalism wine. Everybody's trying to go for the gusto. All right, that ultimate win on the bag. Okay, going all out in these last and wicked times, trying to get that money. That's what it's all about, man. Stop fooling yourself and stop trying to fool these people, Eric. Lie. All right. That's all. That's the only game you're playing, Moab. All right. And you're doing it. With the same playbook that Babylon the Great has using, man. Doing it off of the same playbook that Babylon the Great has been using. All right. So stop trying to fool yourself. Okay. Because you ain't fooling Yahweh Shai. All right. Eric, lie. Full of lies, man. Full of lies. Let me get this real quick. Okay. Let me get this, man. Because this guy he's got all the right words in this interview here. He's saying everything that his people back home want to hear. Everything that his people back home want to hear, man. And he's got a lot of people in that audience that he's talking to full. But let's see what the scriptures say. This is Isaiah chapter 16, verse 6. Get verse 6 and 7. It says, "We have heard the pride of Moab." All right, we hear you. We hear you talking, Chinaman. All right, we hear you, Eric Lie. It says, "We have heard the pride of Moab." He is very proud. Okay, this dude is very proud. Oh, we're not based on capitalism. We're capitalist, but we're not in capitalism. See, our political parties will never be ruled in. A lot of BS, man. It says, "We have heard the pride of Moab. He is very proud, even of his haughtiness." You're proud of being boastful. You're proud of being boastful. You're proud of being prideful. You see, and you can see this in their kung fu movies too, man. You know what I'm saying? You get a lot of their kung fu movies are all about nationalism. You know, China for the Chinese. You know, and the kung fu movies are always talking about how great they are, and China this, China that, man. Very proud people. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with having taking pride in your people, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But when you start spouting these lies, like you're not as bad as Babylon is. When you've played out the same damn playbook, you know what I'm saying? When you start spouting out lies like you didn't pull from the same goddamn playbook as Babylon, you know, and become a so-called great nation as you are through some other means, come on, man. Stop it. Stop it, man. Stop the cap. Okay? Stop the BS, man. You're drunk with the same wine, man. You're drunk with the same wine as Babylon the Great, man. Okay? Nobody believes your lies, Eric Lie. It says, we have heard of the pride of Moab. He is very proud. Yeah, very proud. Even of his haughtiness and his pride and his wrath. But his lies shall not be so. You think you're gonna have an everlasting success? You talk about the West. They feel as though they're going to continue forever. You don't, Eric Lie. Stop it, man. Stop it. Okay. Therefore, verse 7. Therefore shall Moab howl for Moab. Okay. The Chinaman is going to howl for China. Okay. China for the Chinese. Well, the Chinaman is going to howl for China. Okay. It says, therefore shall Moab howl for Moab, for everyone shall howl. Okay? All right, all your supporters, all the merchants that you've partnered with, okay? You want to talk about Babylon the Great and its merchant partners. Well, guess what? You're one of them. Listen, guess what? If Babylon the Great is taking the L, you taking the L too. Okay? You and all your partners and all your buddies. Why? Because you've all drunk from the same cup, okay? And you're all going to drink from the same cup of wrath out of the hand of Yahweh. All right? Therefore shall Moab howl for Moab, everyone shall howl, for the foundations of Kirisheth shall ye mourn, surely they are stricken. Okay, but you're going to howl, man. All right? You're going to howl. Because you have extreme pride, man. Extreme pride, arrogance, very, very boastful, haughty in nature, sitting up there, spouting off this, that, and the third statistics, or what this political, what your political stand is as opposed to what, America and the West and this, that, and the third, man. Come on, man. Stop it. All the same. Okay? All the same. You even dress like you didn't Moab, you didn't dress like that. Come on. You didn't dress like that at one time. Now you up there in a 3 and 4 piece suit, dressing like the West. But you want to say you're so different. You want to say you're so different. That was not your common dress, Moab. Now come on. Be real. But now you're up there in the monkey suit just like the West. You all drunk from the same cup, man. Stop with the nonsense. Okay? Excessive pride, man. Excessive vain pride. All right? But your judgment is coming, man, and it's inevitable. All right? It's inevitable. You got prophecies set forth against you. All right? And then and listen. The prophecies once they're set, you ain't getting away from. Point blank, period. Okay? So your kingdom is not going to continue forever either. But listen, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this, but I saw this You know, Eric lie. You know, that's what I'm calling him. Talking about the West has no idea what's coming. Well, listen, Moab has no idea what's coming. Okay, and all your peers. But anyway, that say shalom.